My name is Ban Tien, last name spelled T-I-E-N, Assistant Chief with the Houston Police Department. At approximately 7:45 p.m. today, our SWAT officers is at this location, which is a residence at the 9200 block of Opelika. I'm gonna spell it out, I don't want to butcher the street name. It's O-P-E-L-I-K-A. It's in the northwest part of town. But basically our officer, find out the suspect has a felony aggravated assault family violence warrant. So they're here to execute a warrant. As they arrived, they immediately noticed there were 5 people in front of the residence outside in the yard. They immediately detained those individuals to find out more about the suspect. At the same moment, those individuals pointed to the officer that the suspect and confirmed that the suspect is inside the residence. At the same time, they begin to surround the residence and begin calling, using verbal commands to call the suspect out of the residence. Through multiple attempts, and I do want to emphasize multiple attempts to no avail. At the same time, they begin to systematically try to enter the residence to search for the suspect, to locate the suspect. As they were searching the residence, the suspect in close proximity appeared to be hiding behind a ambush position and shot at one of our officers in close range. The actual round itself did not impact and struck our officer. However, the fragments of the bullet, it is believed the fragment of the bullets actually struck our officer. That officer was driven to the hospital and he was treated and subsequently released shortly thereafter with minor injuries to his face. Meanwhile, back to the scene, as the suspect shot at our officers, 4 of officers returned fire to protect themselves and immediately basically retreat back away from the house to a position where they could take cover. As they were taking cover, they continued to try to call the suspect out. The suspect began to get further inside the house to further conceal himself and basically barricaded himself at the time. And then we have what we call a barricaded suspect situation. SWAT officer continues to surround the house and give verbal commands to call the suspect out to no avail. Meantime, our hostage negotiation team also deployed to the scene to begin negotiating. After multiple attempts, now be mindful now, the incident started around 7:45 p.m. today, last night, and now it's almost close to 2 a.m. So over 6 hours of negotiation, the suspect is finally taken into custody. The officers were able to deploy some chemical munition along with some less lethal munition to contain the suspect and take him into custody. It is believed that the suspect was not struck as a result of officer returning fire at the time during the initial confrontation, and that was the only time during the initial confrontation that the SWAT officer discharged the firearm. Now, however, during the course where the officer is taking the suspect in custody, the suspect actually fired multiple times. At one point, it is believed the officer actually fired at one of the officers who is behind a fixed position behind an up-armored vehicle. But this said, suspect is currently getting treated right now. It's going to get transported to a hospital. As I mentioned, he has the active felony family violence warrant. Any charges, potential charges, as you all know, we will consult with the district attorney's office for additional charges. But meanwhile, as like any officer-involved shooting, we have our investigators with a homicide special investigative unit is here conducting the investigation. Also, our investigators with the Internal Affairs Division is also running a parallel administrative investigation. The DA's office has been notified, the Civil Rights Unit has been notified, and they will take it from there. Meanwhile, our team from the Forensic Science team, the Crime Scene Unit, will also here gather evidence. Per policy and the established protocol we have for officer-involved shootings, those officers who were involved in the shooting will be placed on administrative duties, pending this investigation. Any question?
You used some kind of armored vehicle to breach the residence?
That is correct. In order for us to for officer safety and for us to safely contain the situation, we did use a up-armored vehicle to breach the house to try to get the suspect into custody. As I mentioned earlier, this is when the suspect actually shot at the up-armored vehicle.
And did you recover any weapons from the suspect?
It's going to be part of an investigation. It's extremely preliminary right now. As you know, this scene just concluded probably like 10 minutes ago, and they're still going through all the evidence right now. But yes, that will be part of the investigation.
He had been posting on social media during the situation, showing guns and threatening the police and stuff. Did that make an impact on your the way you handle the situation? Or?
So thanks for asking. So he has been posting on social media, making threats, having a shootout with officers, stuff like that. But we are extremely fortunate today. We have some of the most professional and dedicated men and women out there. Our SWAT officers out there. They exercise the highest level of restraint. This is why we were able to peacefully resolve this matter without any loss of life. And anytime when we're able to resolve any situation, any incident without the loss of life, it's always a win for us.
Can you describe the suspect, the age, race?
Suspect, white male, approximately 21 years of age.
Okay. Was anybody else home at the time besides the people that were outside? Or
there were about 5 folks outside. They were temporarily detained for questioning. Of course, the investigation is still active right now. Meanwhile, in terms of just inside the residence, the suspect was inside by himself.
Any other questions?
What kind of damage is to the house with, did you guys go through a wall or the windows, obviously, or the roof?
Well, it's gonna be part of it, right? So, as you know, chemical munition was deployed, and I wasn't able to get close enough to see it, right? And I would probably ask you guys not to get too close to see it, right? Without a gas mask.
I was just going to ask, are we allowed to go record the damage?
I would give some time. Let them sort through all the evidence first. Allow the forensic science team, the crime scene unit, to go through all the evidence before you actually get close enough.
And Chief, the reason why for all the damage is because of the danger that he presented for firing on officers. Correct?
That is correct. Now, you can imagine now, as you guys mentioned earlier, in social media, he made multiple threats, right? Threatened to have a shootout with officer, while the officer is trying to negotiate and engage the suspect. He fired multiple rounds. I do want to emphasize multiple rounds, right? So as you can imagine how dangerous that is, right? That is the only way, the safest way we can negotiate, to try to, get the scene to a safe resolution without any loss of life.
Yeah, you guys did a great job.
Thank you.
You did a great job.
Chief, thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.